Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is May 8th, 2016, a lovely Sunday afternoon. I'm happy to be recording the 25th episode of the Anthony Taylor Poetry Show on YouTube. And it's a pleasure to be with you again on our new set, Out in the Open with Mother Nature. The title of this poem is called Georgetown, early 1980s, is a villanelle. Georgetown in the District of Columbia during the early 1980s was spectacular. That part of DC was very picturesque and very similar to the towns of the colonial period of American history. Georgetown during the early 1980s, what a bus trip to and fro Georgetown in the District of Columbia. Cobblestones paved some of the streets. Houses 2-story, houses 3-story, standing tall amidst of the growing tall trees. Georgetown during the early 1980s was one of my very favorite spots to visit while I was a student at Howard University. It was a quick getaway from the hassle and bustle of going to classes every day and completing my assignments. The various stores, the peoples, and the sights were breathtaking. I remember a particular record store that I discovered which sold oldies but goodies from the late 1950s and the decade of the 1960s. It was like finding a gold mine. Golden classics from the golden age of television and entertainment. Songs that recorded every emotion that a human being could feel and express. Songs that inspired, songs that made people smile. What a treasure trove in Georgetown, Washington, D.C. Georgetown, early 1980s, what an experience to see various cultures and different peoples. Culture shock back then in the 1980s, but considered normal according to today's ethical standard of living. On an overcast afternoon, walking on the campus of Georgetown University in Georgetown, while a young man in the 1980s, I witnessed two tall men walking together and holding hands together. It took some time to draw a conclusion that this couple was gay, slang for homosexual. It startled me, it surprised me. They were openly affectionate with their relationships and feelings. Out in the open, when back then it was closed and cursed. Today, in the 20 teens, a couple that is gay is perfectly accepted. Gay marriage and gay rights have come a long way. Gay couples can not only marry, but adopt children as well. Culture shock. Who ever heard of a black man running to be president of the United States of America? Georgetown, early 1980s. You're black. You are descended from slaves. No one would ever elect a black person for president of the United States. A man by the name of Jesse Jackson sought to prove those people wrong. Mr. Jackson, a preacher and longtime civil rights activist, sought the highest position during the 1980s. Jesse Jackson ran the Democratic ticket. He did not have much success, but he did gain popularity and continued to pave the path for a black man to be president of the United States. Georgetown, early 1980s. It was not until the late 2000s that a black man by the name of Barack Obama became the first black man to be president of the United States. What a historic look back from my days spent in Georgetown witnessing the election campaign of Jesse Jackson to be the president of the United States and to be fortunate and blessed to see the first male African American to be the president of the United States, who is Barack Obama. Georgetown, early 1980s. Culture shock and the extraordinary experiences of life. Who would imagine at that time that the impossible would become the possible? Georgetown, early 1980s. Those years have gone, and those days of traveling to Georgetown are gone. But the memories of that era will live on forever. I will never forget that record store that sold all of those oldies but goodies. Truly an experience that had enlightened me to the past of popular music. I'll never forget the narrow streets and the colonial houses of Georgetown. It was like a trip back into the past before the United States became a world power. I will never forget Georgetown University. Large buildings, open space, grass on the ground, and seeing how the upper class learned and lived. What an experience. Georgetown, early 1980s, an experience that was experienced because I attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. to obtain my BA degree. Georgetown, early 1980s, what an era. Georgetown, located not too far from the White House. Georgetown, located not too far from downtown D.C. working area. Georgetown, located not too far from Alexandria, Virginia. Georgetown, early 1980s. Thank you. This concludes the Anthony Taylor Poetry Show, episode 25 on YouTube, and a reading about Villanelle, Georgetown, early 1980s. Thank you, and have a good day.